Yeah, I got some sports. It's
Right.
sports been a little crazy the last couple of weeks. You know, I almost feel like I'm in Sparkle's seat with good news and bad news. I almost I almost want to ask y'all what y'all want first, but we don't. It's been real, but we're gonna start off. I'm gonna give y'all some sports. We're gonna start off with the NBA because this is All-Star Weekend. Always a big weekend in the NBA. Usually a big weekend for everybody. There's always a lot of events and stuff going on in the city wherever the All-Star game is. People trying to get there, fly there, and partake in all the activities. But due to the pandemic, none of that is happening. So instead of All-Star Weekend, it's like, or should I just say All-Star Day? Because the NBA All-Star 2021 will be held tomorrow, March 7th at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, home of the Atlanta Hawks, where the league's annual global celebration of the game will take place on one night only for the first time ever. And they're calling it all of All-Star in one night. So here's the schedule for y'all. So at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, news coverage will begin, and then the on the court action will take place an hour and a half later at 6:30. The first event will be the skills challenge, followed by the 3-point contest, and then the actual All-Star game at 8 p.m. So I know y'all probably asking, like, well, what happened with the slam dunk contest? Because we all know that's the fan favorite. But that's actually going to take place during halftime of the game. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I kind of think putting it at halftime of the game, you're probably not going to get as long of a, competition that you normally would. So I don't know if it's still going to be the same time and length or if it's going to be cut short. So we'll see. But this is the first time everything's just going to be in one day, and they're just packing it in, which would normally have been a whole weekend. They're packing it into a couple hours. And just to remind you guys, if you don't remember, of our All-Star lineup. So the starters for Team Durant, Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, and Team LeBron James, Giannis, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, James himself, Nikola, and just them. Okay, so everybody else that's on the list are just not starters, but other people that made the list. You got James Harden, Mike Conley, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, Zion Williams, Anthony Davis for Team Durant, and then Jaylen Brown, Paul George, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, Rudy Gobert for Team LeBron James. Now there was some complaints. A lot of people felt like Damian Lillard should have been a starter, and that he kind of got robbed for this particular year. So, a lot of conversations around that. But as part of this year's events, the NBA National Basketball Players Association, along with the NBA, announced that they will commit more than $2.5 million in funds and resources toward HBCUs and support the awareness around equity and access to COVID-19 care, relief, and vaccines. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said NBA All-Star in Atlanta will continue our annual tradition of celebrating the game and the greatest players in the world before a global audience. In addition to the festivities on the court, the All-Star game will honor the vital role of HBCUs play in our communities and focus attention and resources on COVID-19 relief, particularly for the most vulnerable. So this is their plan, and everybody's trying to just raise money and give back. In addition to that, Philadelphia's very own, Charles's favorite 76er, the NBA All-Star Joel Embiid, has committed to donating his winnings from this year's NBA All-Star game to the Philadelphia homeless shelter. So these shelters include, come on.
I like it.
These shelters include Project Home, Sunday Breakfast Mission, and Youth Services Inc. In total, Embiid has committed to $100,000 across these organizations. And Embiid said, so many have fallen on such hard times during the pandemic. I felt it was important to provide more support for individuals and families struggling with homelessness and food insecurity. I'm continually grateful for all the support that Philadelphia and the fans have given me, not just around All-Star, but all my years in the league. I will continue to help in any way I can.
I like it.
Just so you know, his commitment will help area homeless by providing, listen to this, 15,000 meals for homeless and underdeserved individuals, 4,000 essential clothing items donated to homeless teens and adults, care and treatment of 1,000 homeless individuals receiving COVID-19 vaccines, support for 30 plus formerly homeless families, including education, healthcare, and employment services, funding for a 6-week summer camp for 50 plus homeless and at-risk youth, and shelter and essential needs for over 300 teens facing homelessness or home insecurity.
Okay, trust the process. Trust the process. I love it.
So he's doing his thing. Thank you, and I'm just gonna say thank you, Joel Embiid, for even looking out for the city of Philadelphia, because we do have a lot of homeless here, and it's kind of out of hand. I don't know if you guys have been in some of the areas, especially like going towards Center City, and I mean it's like campgrounds out there, just homelessness.
Yes.
It's really bad, and at least he's trying to help.
Yeah.
And I think this is a nice start. It's a nice start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked down there, and I kind of was feeling bad for some of the homeless people, because a lot of people are working from home, and some of them depend on that little change, or or somebody buying them a lunch or something like that, or giving them a sandwich. They depend on that to survive day to day. So for like the last almost year, they haven't been getting that. So my prayers go out to them.
See, you want to give a shout out? Anything? You want to say anything?
No, I'm for anybody who's going to support people who need the help, and if he's going to do that, that's big of him. I mean, it's needed. As Sizzle said, it's definitely needed. I'm downtown a lot. There was a time where they pretty much took over. What was it? Like the art museum area.
Yeah.
And to see that many people who were homeless, it's just, yeah, man. So kudos to him. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Oh, there you go, Charles. Progress. Process. Trust the process, right? All right. So, transitioning from people with no money to people with all the money. So listen, Skip Bayless is making headlines as ESPN was trying to bring him back to their network last year, but couldn't make the deal work. So ESPN made a full court press to reunite Skip Bayless with Stephen A. Smith. They would have done daily ESPN show together while being featured all over ESPN on different areas and different shows, including weekly spots on Monday Night Football, halftime shows. But him and Stephen A. Smith were on First Take, and they feel like since he made his departure, the show hasn't been the same. Skip Bayless was replaced with Max Kellerman, and Max Kellerman, he came from Sports Nation and a couple other shows, but he's like a boxing guy. He mainly does boxing. But nobody knew what the big deal was. He was just kind of like, no, thank you, and left it as that. But we just found out that Skip Bayless signed a $32 million contract for 4 years, allowing him about $8 million a year with
ESPN.
With Fox.
With Fox.
So ESPN was not able to get him to come back, and he went. So when ESPN did this pitch, and everybody was like, "Oh, we might be getting Skip back," and then he was just like, "Nothing," and it just kind of died down, and it was nothing. What's going on? why didn't he come back? And there was all this speculation around, oh, well, then, how people start to talk, oh, maybe it was another reason why he really left and, all this other stuff. But no, he said no bad blood there. He loves that still, his family, extended family. But it was a nice
$32 million. I'm making $32 million.
No, thank you. And we don't know. It was no word on what ESPN's offer was, but I mean,
not
$8 million a year to sit around and talk trash. I mean, I don't think you can really beat that.
Nice.
What'd you say, Sparkle?
It must be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is staying with Fox Sports. Okay.
I'll be staying with Fox Sports too.
Yeah.
I can hear Shannon right now. Hey, Skip.
Yeah.
Hey, Skip. You were supposed to stay over here, Skip.
And he did. They pulled it off. All right. So sad story. Mark Pavlich, a player on the 1980 Miracle on Ice Olympic hockey team, who just turned 30 last week, was found dead in a Minnesota treatment facility on Thursday, March 4th. The cause of death was not known, and at the time still has yet to be reported. Police were called to his residence at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Those who responded on the scene say it seemed that he had been dead for several hours when they arrived. He was last seen Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And that's it.
Wow.
No other information. So he died at Eagles Healing Nest, where he has been for the last several months receiving mental health treatment. And he's been getting treatment there at the facility after being charged with 4 felony accounts on his 63-year-old neighbor. They said his neighbor suffered cracked ribs, bruised kidney, vertebrae fracture, amongst a ton of other injuries. So I don't know what it is to his neighbor, but mental health issues, and then went to this facility and just dead. So they're still investigating that. NCAA sports. We're moving over to the college. So just in a few hours ago, Les Miles, head football coach of Kansas Jayhawks, has been placed on administrative leave due to extensive allegations of misconduct that were buried, but now are coming to light, when he was at LSU back in 2013. Les Miles' allegation includes texting female students, taking them to his condo alone, making them feel uncomfortable, and on at least one occasion, kissing a student and suggesting they go back to his hotel after telling her he could help her career. So in a statement, Kansas Long said today, I placed head football coach Les Miles on an administrative leave as we conduct a full review to determine the appropriate next steps. We are reviewing the Hush Blackwell report released today by LSU following yesterday's release of the Tyler Porter report. The past 2 days have been the first time that we have had access to either report. Even though the allegations against him occurred at LSU, we take these matters very seriously at KU. Now that we have access to this information, we will take the coming days to fully review the material to see if any additional information is available. I do not want to speculate on a timeline for our review because it is imperative we do our due diligence. We will be able to comment further once our review is complete.
This is
it's
crazy.
Sad.
Yeah.
When I hear these things, it is just utterly sad because we're another story with another coach taking advantage of more kids.
You're taking your leadership position, just as an adult, period. But now as a leadership, you're taking that and you're taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. It's sad, and for the victims, it's a life sentence for them. because they deal with this every day, just reliving that moment and just constantly thinking about what happened to them. It's a life sentence for them.
But imagine how many before them. Like
Right.
it was said before this, but it's now being, it's now being publicized. But there were so many suffering in silence before because they felt no one would believe them. No one's going to hear them. No one's going to do anything. So they said nothing.
Yeah.
It's always one of those things where, and again, granted, this is 8 years ago that we're hearing about this now. Now it's coming out. Once you start hearing some stories, it always seems like more start to follow.
Yep.
Because more people start to speak up, and I'm like,
yeah, same thing with Andrew Cuomo. It's
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. It's like that it takes that one person to speak up. Granted, if it's something that really happened to them, but at the same time, I'm kind of on the fence with that because they're calling for him to step down, but it's like investigate him first. You know what I mean? Like if he's wrong, he should step down and he should be held accountable for his actions, but investigate him first because we live in the time of cancel culture and it's all somebody has to do is make an accusation and that person has lost their job, they lost everything, which is unfortunate for people that are just like doing that to either attack somebody or get back at somebody for something. But if you're if they're a victim of something, then yeah, they do deserve justice for whatever has been done. But oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's always hard and hard, definitely hard to hear and completely messy when when I heard about this. These things, it reminds me of, like you said, we're living in the cancel era, but we're also living in the era of the Me Too movement. And it's like so much, but these are children. Some of them,
the little ones,
the younger ones, and some of them, some of them that first get to college that aren't 18 yet, and then you have the ones that that they may be over 18, but just because they're an adult, it's still that I don't care how old you are, it's still that in that handbook at any university, that student teacher relationship is supposed to happen. So, and especially when you're doing it like like this and kind of like taking advantage of, or like you said, using your authority and telling them you're gonna I'll do this for you if you do this. It's like you can't. That's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So, but again, these are allegations, so it's allegedly. Charles, you're biting your lip. Yeah, these things make him.
Nah, just to me, but them babies off limits. It's no excuse for that. And I bite my lip when it comes to, because I don't want to say anything that's inappropriate. But I just feel that oftentimes it's just so lopsided for somebody to be able to without any proof at all just make an accusation and your career is over.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people make accusations because they were mad and it was completely false. So I'm tight-lipped about that because I understand that there's some victims out there, and I'm always for the marginalized, right? But I am very I'm very hard on people who lies that mess it up for people who truly need that support and resources to get behind them, because there's a lot of stories that don't get heard because they're nervous or scared.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people who jump on bandwagons too, and it's just it just has to be it has to be a way to even this out where there's some legitimate concerns that people are being taken care of. But for those who it's just I'm at a loss of words with it because but for me the babies it's no you don't have it's no defense when it comes to them babies.
No.
You did the story last week about the
I know.
gymnastic coach and them little girls, man, like parents are putting those girls in the hands of coaches sometimes, and that's all they have. And they get taken advantage of, man. They don't have it. Like they look to you as their hero, as their protector and provider, and you hand those kids.
Yes,
that's heavy to me.
Yeah, and you have the people that are sick and there's something wrong with them, and they strategically place themselves in these jobs and positions to where they can take advantage of kids. That makes me so angry. Like, I hate to see things done to kids, elderly, animals, like anybody that's defenseless.
So my niece is autistic and she's nonverbal. So my sister and I are looking for a necklace that has like a camera on it because forever amen, my sister's not going to be around her now that she's nonverbal. You have to think about those type of things, that you're sending her to school, you're sending her to certain, and what do? You know what I mean? And she's, in her situation, nonverbal and can't tell you. But what about the little kids that are able to speak but too scared? It's like, do you put surveillance on your child everywhere they go? You know what I mean? Just to ensure that these people are not, taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
Some babies, man, you don't, and they're easy to scare.
Yeah.
And it's easy to scare them by saying, if you say something, I'm gonna hurt your dad or I'm gonna kill your mom. And they won't say anything. I have seen it happen.
Yeah.
Like that's my background is in childcare. Early ed at that. And it's just them babies are off limit. It's no defense that you can say. I don't care if you sick. None of that matters to me. Those babies are just bait. You can't.
Great.
Now, for me, because I did a story similar last week, and I mean, literally just hours before we came on the air tonight, this story broke, and I was just like, again. So I understand, for the platform that we have here, we talk weekly. We here to use our voice, and it's to help everybody in the communities and whoever we can. So when I hear these stories, I understand it's around sports, and y'all may be tuning in to try to get stats and scores. But when I hear stuff like this, even in sports, I feel it's my duty to bring awareness to it, because it needs to stop. And it's more and more stories that you hear like this with teachers, and I mean, because the story last week with the doc, he was like the physician. He was doing the exams for these kids in the Olympics, and then he had sexually assaulted over 300 of them. He's in jail for it was over 250, and he's doing like 300 years in jail. Like, it's why does it keep happening? It has to stop. Like, it has to stop happening. And we don't know. And again, when it comes to Les Miles, we don't know if he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's only been accused. So until more information comes forth, we can't say if this is true or not. But it's just another story that broke. He's been placed on administrative leave, and we'll figure out what happens. What happens?
You know how many little boys this happens to?
A lot of little boys as well.
That never get reported because they are trained to believe that it's okay, or because they think it feels good. That is just, how many little boys that happen to? A
lot of them feel like it's their fault. They feel ashamed. They're embarrassed, or they feel guilty, or they feel like they did something wrong. So it's a lot of different feelings that they have, the reasons why they won't come forth, which was something you touched on when you were speaking, Charles. I thought about when I seen a timeline for this, because whatever this was happened 8 years ago, but it's just being talked about now. Well, but at the same time, they also said that he settled something out of court. It was also something that was supposed to have been some hush money on the side, which is why I said, things that happen in the dark. Now it's coming to light because apparently it had been silenced, and now it's coming back to the forefront. And I think maybe it's a situation where because he's not at the school anymore, people feel safer to talk about it because now he's not there. So we don't know what the situation is. Again, allegations, but
yeah, y'all remember
ladies and gentlemen, we gotta go, man. It's just
sorry.
We gotta go, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in next week so we can continue the story, and maybe we start to, include some of these segments when it comes to making sure we protect these babies, man. We out, y'all. Holla.